about the concept of gratitude. We all hear about the idea, the concept of gratitude. Be'ezrat Hashem, today I'm going to bring sources from our written Torah, from the 5 books of Moses. Then I'm going to bring sources also from the oral Torah. And then we see why is it so important to show gratitude. And then we'll summarize the subject. So we'll go step by step. First, we'll go through the sources, the sources for gratitude in the Torah, and we go step by step. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, v'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. So, anyone here never heard the concept of gratitude? Everyone, Baruch Hashem. So, it's mentioned in our Torah in different places. I'm going to bring book. I'm going to start with Sefer Bereshit, then I'm going to move to Sefer Shmot, then I'm going to move to the Gemarot, where it's mentioned in the oral Torah that we obligated to show gratitude, and why we're doing it. We'll try to understand. So the first source that I would like to share with you, and there's many, many more, it's in Parashat Vayigash, in Sefer Bereshit, Parashat Vayigash, chapter 47, verse 26. And it said there like this, רק את אדמת הכהנים לבדם לא הייתה לפרעה. I will translate, רק את אדמת הכהנים, the only land that was not belong to Pharaoh, okay, that was the land of the priests. What is it referring to? It's referring to the time of Yosef HaTzadik. When Yosef HaTzadik was a ruler, he bought the entire land in Egypt. And all the land in Egypt was belonged to Pharaoh. Pashut. You remember when was the famine, people come and ask him for food. He said, no problem, pay me for it. He said, we don't. He said, or you pay, or you die. So he bought all the land in Egypt, and he given it to Pharaoh, except the land of the priests. Why? So the Midrash tells us, when the story with the wife of Potiphar, you remember that one day she tried to seduce him when they was alone at home, and he left his clothes in a hand and he ran. The law was in Egypt, Hazal say, that if a person tried to rape one of the minister's wife, the punishment was dead. But we all know that Yosef HaTzadik never been punished for that. He been punished to be put in a pit. What's happened there? That when the priests realized what's happened, they realized the truth, that Yosef HaTzadik speak the 100% truth. But they couldn't do nothing because Potiphar was in a higher position. So they couldn't put him to death. They have the conscience. So they decide to put him in jail. Yosef HaTzadik realized that. He knew. So when he became a ruler, he didn't forget. He showed them gratitude. What has he done? He bought the entire land in Egypt, except where the priest was living. He didn't touch that. That where the minister of the Egyptian was living, that land never been bought and never was belonged to Paro. That's one source. The first source that we're going to show about gratitude that Yosef HaTzadik showed to a human being. Let's move on. In Sefer Shmot, now moving to the second book of Moses, in Sefer Shmot, in Parashat Vayera, there it speaks about the 7 plagues. We know that was 10 plagues. The first 7 plagues was in Parashat Vayera, and the next Parsha, Parashat Bo, was the last 3. But we see something very interesting about the first 3 plagues. The first 3 plagues that HaKadosh Baruch Hu command to bring on Pharaoh and his nation, who done them? Aaron. Why? Now let me just explain what they are. They are dam, tzfardea, and kinim. Dam is blood, tzfardea is frog, kinim is lice. Those 3, the first 3 plagues from the 10, Aaron done. Why? Okay, so if we start with the first plague, we know that that was liquid, referring to the Nile, because the Nile saved them, nachon? Why frog? Why lice? So listen to that. Hazal said that here Yosef HaTzadik showed gratitude to the organic, to the living. What does it mean? Moshe showed that he showed gratitude to the inorganic and the organic. The inorganic is the liquid, the water. But what was, and the sand, and what was the organic? The frog. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu been saved by the Nile. And the only source of water that they used to have, the Egyptian, was the Nile. Nachon? So when he turned the water to blood, Moshe wanted to show gratitude. I can't do that. With the frog, that he knew that if he going to do that, it said, V'tiv'asha ye'or. That means all the living that was inside the Nile die. He couldn't do that. The third one was the lice. Why the lice? You remember it said that when Moshe Rabbeinu left in the age of 18, he walked out from the house of Pharaoh. He saw an Egyptian man hitting a Jewish man. And he looked to his left, he looked to his right, the Torah says. What does it mean? He looked that if from that man, from Egyptian man, will ever come any good, he saw that all of his descendants going to be wicked like him, and he killed them. And the Torah tells us he buried them in the sand. Moshe Rabbeinu showed gratitude to the sand. Why? Because what come lice? The lice come from the sand. To show gratitude that the sand that he buried, that Egyptian that he killed, he showed gratitude. So the first 3 plagues in the Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't done it, to show gratitude. It says again in Parashat Bo, now we move into the next parsha, it says something very interesting. I don't know if you ask yourself. Also in Sefer Shmot, Parashat Bo, in chapter 13, verse 13, it says something very interesting. V'kol peter hamor tivde baseh. I will translate. Every firstborn of a donkey, you should redeem that with a lamb. Why? It's a non-kosher animal. It's a matter of fact, it's the only non-kosher animal that we have to redeem. You know that. It's the firstborn of a donkey that we're obligated to redeem it. Why? Did you ask yourself?
Because the donkeys were used to take all the gold and silver out of
Okay, so because the donkeys help the Jewish people when they took the treasure out from Egypt, when they left Egypt, to carry all of those gold and silver and all the treasure that they took from the Egyptian. Nachon? So here we see, sorry?
Wasn't that afterwards? That was afterwards.
What you mean?
When they left out the donkey.
Yes.
You're talking about the plagues.
After the plagues. Here in Parashat Bo, it was the 3 plagues. Nachon? The last 3 plagues.
But I'm saying the plagues were before they left Egypt.
The plague was before.
That's what I'm saying. So
But they took, in Makat Hoshech, they took all the gold and the silver. Vainatzlu et Mitzrayim. That they think that they took all the gold and silver. When does it happen? In Makat Hoshech. But now when they left Egypt, after the 10 plagues, what's going to carry it? Who's going to carry it? So Hazal said that they used the donkeys. You understand? It was after. But the gold and the treasure they took before in Makat Hoshech because they found it. So who's going to carry it? The donkey.
Isn't also the gratitude to the dogs when they left the dogs?
That's also there is. V'kelev lo yachratz leshono. That's what we say it in Haggadah of Pesach. To show gratitude to the dog. So what do we do for the dog? Let's see. V'kol nevela basadeh lakelev titnu. That means that every nevela, that's any carcasses or anything that's not kosher from the animal, what do you do with it? You obligate to give it to the dog. But there's many more. You'll see there's plenty, what do you call it? Verses that show us gratitude. So here, I brought only 3. You know what I'm saying? And there is dozen, if not 100, from the Torah that we can learn about gratitude. But especially brought, if you see, I brought a human being. Then I move to sand, organic and inorganic, and animals. You understand what I'm saying? That's to teach us something. That it's come to teach us that because they carry our treasure, we obligated to redeem the firstborn of a donkey. We're not allowed to sell it. We're not allowed to deal with them until we redeem it with the lamb. Yes?
When you actually redeem it, what do you do?
So, if you can't redeem it for some, and it's the first donkey, you have to kill him. There's a special reason why. I'm not going to go to that. How do you redeem it? You take the firstborn of a donkey, and you go to someone, and you have to pay the value of a lamb. Whatever the lamb is, because otherwise you can't use that donkey. So what do you do with the donkey if you want to sell it? You have to sell it for a value of a lamb. What is a lamb? You work it out. I don't know. What is a lamb today? Anyone know? What does a lamb cost? 2.5 grand. Okay. So Menachem says it's 2.5 grand. So you take the firstborn of that donkey and you pay 2.5 grand and you redeem it. You follow what I'm saying?
You pay it to?
To the owner. The owner have a firstborn. He take a lamb. He pay 2,500. He buy a lamb, and that lamb is shecht, and the donkey can carry on using it for whatever you use it. Because usually you use the donkey. Usually you use the donkey to work with. Sorry, Steve. Yes. So you understand? You buy a lamb for the value, and then you can use the donkey. You understand me, Brian? Okay, so let's continue. So from here we see only 3 sources that are brought. As I mentioned, there's dozen more, as Brian also mentioned, with Kelev lo yechrach leshano, that when the Jewish people left Egypt, the dog didn't bark. And usually the dog is the most loyal animal that you have. And when the Jewish people left Egypt, they didn't bark. So to show gratitude, we obligate to look after the dog. So what do? We give them all the nevelot. That means the thing that we can't eat, a meat, even if it was a cow, a kosher animal, but they found that she is not kosher, that we can't eat it, we have to give it to the dogs. Okay. So now, I would like to go to the Gemarot to find where's the sources from the oral Gemara. So the first source that I'm going to bring come from the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, that means page 35, folio 1. And Hazal tell us like this. Listen what Hazal say. Asur lo la'adam sheyene min ha'olam hazeh belo bracha. A person not allowed to have any joys in this world without saying any brocha. That means that we obligate to say a brocha from anything that we have a joy. So what you would refer the brocha, obviously food, nachon? No. Also other things. We have Birkat HaIlanot. You remember that we spoke? We done a shiur about saying the blessing over when the fruit tree that bring fruit, when the bud is coming. Not only that, we have Birkat HaKeshet, when we see the rainbow, nachon? When we see the ocean, Hayam HaGadol. We have Birkat HaHama, that we have once in a while. We have Birkat HaLevana that we do every month. So not everything referring only to food, because many people think that when I say Asur lo lehenot min ha'olam belo bracha, obligated to think only about food or fruit, whatever, or liquid. No, also there's certain things. If we see a beautiful human being, we're obligated to say a bracha. If we see a king, we have to say a bracha. A king that have the authority to put someone to death, or to give him, to sentence him to death, or to give him lehavdil hanina. You follow? Hanina, that if he'd been punished to death, and then he changed his sentence. Okay, so that's the first source from the Gemara, Masechet Brachot. The second Gemara comes in Masechet Baba Kama. And listen what Hazal said there. It's a famous verse. I'm sure that many of you heard it, but you didn't know where you heard it, and now you're going to hear it. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot, Tzadik Bet Amud Bet, that means 92 folio 2. The Gemara say like this. Bira deshatit mineh, lo tisdebe kala. What does it mean? A well that you drink from it water, don't throw a stone inside. You heard about it, Nahon? Many of you. Now you know where does it come from the Gemara. A place that you drink water from, a well, a hole, because here it say that bira, it means a bore. Bore, it's like a pit. You follow? A place that you take water from it, don't throw stone inside. Show gratitude. The Midrash Agadol on Sefer Shmot in chapter 8, it says something very important, and listen to it. כל הכופר בטובתו של חברו, לבסוף כופר בטובתו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. A person that does not show gratitude, does not accept the grateful, he become ungrateful for all what his fellow friend done to him. In the end, he will become that he will show ungratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he's ungrateful to the Almighty, and he become a kofir. What does it mean, a kofir? A non-believer. Can you believe it? A person that does not show gratitude to his friends, in the end, he will turn and become a kofir in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So from here we see three sources from the oral Torah. So now we have to understand, we understand that it's very important. But why is it so important that we show gratitude? Did you ask yourself? So to understand that, we're going to go now to Parashat Yitro. In Parashat Yitro, it's speaking about the Ten Commandments. Nachon? If you look behind me, it says there, number 5, Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. We have a positive command from the Torah to respect the father and the mother. Why? Did you ask yourself? Why do I have to respect the father and the mother? Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. They brought you up. Nachon? They brought you up to show. So let's see what, say again? They're giving birth to you. They're giving you life. Nachon? That's what you say. So you're all right. But let's see what Sefer HaChinuch say. Sefer HaChinuch say, by the way, Sefer HaChinuch, it's the book of education, if you translate it, the education book. That's been written by Rabbi Avraham Levy. Rabbi Avraham Levy, born in Spain, in the city of Gorondia, 782 years ago. In Mitzvah Lamed Gimel, that means Mitzvah number 33, he said, Mitzvat kabed avicha ve'et imecha, mishorshei hamitzvah, from the roots of that mitzvah, shera'ui ha'adam, that every human being, obligated, sheyakir v'yigmol chesed lemi she'asa imo tova. That means that the roots of that mitzvah, it's to show gratitude and thank you to whoever done good with him, ever show him any chesed. So when a person show chesed, he's respecting. Nachon? That's what we learn. Let's move on and see what else. Hazal also explained that why are we obligated to show gratitude to other people? It's, listen what they say. כדי לפתח בו רגישות להכרת הטוב. That means to develop in a human being, okay, to develop in us a sensitivity to become good. That means that when a person shows gratitude, he develops in himself all the goodness. For example, what is we have to show gratitude? The first thing is to the Almighty, nachon? The parents, the wife, the friend, a human being, not necessarily it have to be a friend, person that helps us. Then the animal. You say, what animal? The farmer has to show gratitude to his animal, to look after them. We have a pet at home, we have to show gratitude. Whatever the case is. Not only that, we have to show gratitude also to the inorganic. That's like we mentioned that came with Moshe Rabbeinu. The water, the sand, the non-living. Listen what Rabbi Yonatan Eifshitz said. Rabbi Yonatan Eifshitz, born in Krakow, in Poland. He born 327 years ago. He wrote the famous book, Ya'arot Vash. The Forest of Honey, if you translate it to English. And he said like this, Shoresh kol hamidot hara'ot hu kfiyut tova. That means that the root to all the bad character trait, it's when a person becomes ungrateful. That if you want to know what causes a person to become bad, it's ungrateful. When a person doesn't know how to show gratitude, you know that that person is rotten. So it's come to tell us, the Torah tells us not for nothing, that we obligate to show gratitude. Any question before I continue? No question, okay. So let's summarize what we say now. So we say that the first thing that we have to show gratitude to who? Hashem. What did we say every morning when we wake up? Modeh ani lefanecha. How many words there is in Modeh ani? 12. Why 12? Now you'll understand why I'm saying gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Check with me. Are you checking by yourself? 12, nachon? 12 words. Why 12 words? Modeh ani, when you wake up, you have to sit on a bed and you say Modeh ani. Why? That's to allow 12 seconds, we have a doctor here, to allow the blood in the body from the head to go down. That means to balance your body. So the first thing that we're saying thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that giving us back the neshama. But second of all, to balance us. Sometimes people jump off the bed, the blood pressure, and they become a question mark after that. Take a few seconds, they become dizzy. So not to become dizzy, we have to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How? The Torah teaches us. Sit on your bed. מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה רבה אמונתך. 12. So the first gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The second one we mentioned to our parents. They've given us life. They brought us up, educate us. How many nights the mother didn't sleep? How many hours we kept her awake, crying? When we was little, how many hours running to the doctor for us to show gratitude? The father that brought us to life, again, for educating us. The second one is to the wife. A person obligated to show respect to the wife. Rabotai, we laughing, but we have to understand. Rabbi Israel Misalant, we all heard about him. Says something very interesting. A person come to him and said to him, you know, Rabbi, I do everything for my wife. Whatever she wants, I'll do. He said, what do you mean whatever she wants? He said, I make everything for my wife. He said, yes, but she's not happy. She's not happy with what I do. He said, I'll tell you what. You know why she's not happy? Because what you do for her is what you want to do for her, not what she wants you to do for her. That means that sometimes we think that what's good for the wife, it's not necessarily what she wants from us. Sometimes we have to listen to the wife also. Not sometimes, all the time. Because what we think it's good for us, not necessarily it's good for her.
Rabbi, you're not counting second and third. I mean, because you said the parents. Now you talk about the wife.
I'm giving you in gradual, because when you're born up, until you get married, who you have to respect, who you have to show gratitude. After you get married, ודבק באשתו ועזב את אביו ואמו. After you get married, you stick to your wife, you leave your father and your mother. That means you mustn't desert him, mustn't stick him up in an old age home and disappear in Hawaii. You understand? You're obligated to show them respect. But once that you're married, that's it. Your wife is your first partner. The second level become to a friend that done us good. He help you, your battery's flat. He just given you a jump cable. Or you borrowed something from him. You have to show gratitude. Someone help you. You don't even know him. To show gratitude by saying thank you. Or sending him a flower. Then we have the animal, the third one. That's the organic. They live, but they can't talk. We obligate to look our animal. A person that have sheep, cow, that he benefit from them, he make a living from them, obviously he obligate to look after them, to show them that he look after them. Then there is the one that we call the inorganic, that it's not necessary that it's a living, but they can't talk. For example, sand, water. If we get any benefit from it, we obligate to respect it. What does it mean? Rabotai, by that you see sometimes people driving and they throw a drink through the window. You're polluting the world. By that you're polluting the world, you don't show respect. Because you benefit from it. And second of all, Hazal say in Masechet Brachot that you become a partner to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the creation when you look after the world and when you go to work. So from here we see that the Torah come to teach us something very important. It sounds to us like more like something that we obligated to do. Yes, we obligated to do it, but it's to implant on us the sensitivity for all the goodness that there is in the world. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we all going to keep that, and we all remember to show gratitude, to look after the earth, after animals, and then the thing that is living and talking, that it's a human being, and the most important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we live a better life, an easier life, a happier life. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring on us, please God, a lot of health, a lot of prosperity. And we should all going to merit from that mitzvah, Be'ezrat Hashem, to see Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mehera b'yameinu, amen, ken yeh ratzon.